The versus Jason Kidd, we assist one another. Making strides for a ship in the regular season. Lacing up these nights, a band of brothers turning into some demons. Through the season, spring to fall, we gon' see who was working. When the winter hit the surface, gon' see who deserved it. Left competition in the dust, now the opposite deserted. Only lions in my circle, we hungry for purpose. Nothing's given all these stripes, you can see that I earned them. Can't fuck the system, take the knowledge and study and learn it. We as strong as the weakest, 1 through 12 is equal. Tried to trap me, saw it now, you know I had to thread the needle. You know I had to thread the needle, try erase and draw it up, just trying to see my youngins in. Yeah, you know I had to thread the needle, try erase and draw it up, just trying to see my youngins in.
All right, welcome to another episode of the Coaches Show for the coaches by the coaches. Our special guest today is Coach Calvin Campbell from Bern High School in New Bern, North Carolina. How you doing, Coach?
Hey, I'm hanging in there, man. I'm hanging in there, taking it easy.
Taking it easy, good man. Thank you so much for being my Twitter buddy for the last couple of years and getting to know each other through Twitter connection because of the Bern. Just to get you on the Coach Show today is a great honor for us to have somebody down south and a little bit of different basketball and conversation as well. So good to have you.
Man, I appreciate you having me. I appreciate you reaching out to me and thinking of me.
Okay. All right. So the first question is going to come from myself, man. Can you tell people about yourself, who you are, how long you've been at New Bern Senior High School?
I'm Calvin Campbell. I've been at this is my first year at New Bern High School. I've been in the area since I graduated. I went to Averett University in Danville, Virginia. Graduated college in 2006. And kind of started the coaching journey. I was at West Craven High School. I was at Pamlico High School first for 6 years. Then I was as an assistant at New Bern High for 3 years, and then 4 years as an assistant at West Craven. So, I did my time. Was an assistant coach all those places, and this is my first stop as a head coach.
Well, congratulations to you, man. Taking over a program, man, with a rich tradition and been around for quite some time down there on the eastern part of North Carolina, man. So definitely thank you for that information.
Man, I appreciate that.
All right, so I'm going to pass you over to Tobias Jennifer from Huntingtown High School.
Okay.
Hey, how you doing, Coach?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How you doing?
Not too bad, man. I know this is a special show for Coach O because he's from the area. He speaks very highly of North Carolina. He's very prideful of them, man. And so this is honestly, I'm happy for him, and I'm actually happy to get you on to learn a little bit more about the landscape of North Carolina high school basketball. As we're all on this panel of guys, we're all high school basketball coaches, head coaches, and we do have a college assistant. So it's always good to learn and hear from others. About their journeys and the way they do things. So I'm excited.
Yeah, man, I'm definitely happy to be here, and I'm ready to share and do everything I can.
Absolutely. So, I'm gonna get straight into it. I know you said this is your first year at the school. I'm sure like you said, you've been around the game for some time, and you know the game pretty well. So as we know, everything going on with the virus and it's been hectic. Part of the reason why we started this show at the time that we did is because we had a lot of time on our hands. So can you explain to us how the virus is affecting basketball in North Carolina? And then my other question is, what type of information are the schools, at your school or even in your surrounding schools or the state officials giving you, about the situation for the upcoming season?
Yeah, it's been a huge challenge. I think it's been difficult for everyone because we all miss our kids. Not just our athletes, but our regular students. So it's just been a huge challenge because we haven't really been able to see them. I'm probably all zoomed out. I tell you that. That's the only way. It's the only thing you can have with them. With Zoom. That's the only way you can kind of talk to them. But our school system's been great. Just kind of, it's a lot of unknowns. We're trying not to speculate as to what may happen. And everybody has a theory about what's going to happen with sports, and we still don't know. So, at the state level, it's kind of all been the same. Everything, all we know right now at this point is that we're not going back to school. This school year we won't be on the campus. We've been doing we're doing virtual learning. All of our classes, converted right over to our online platform. That's it's just been pretty, it's just kind of still like unknown. We don't really know. I mean, our hope is that when school, is back in August, that we'll be back in and going. But at this point, we still it's just a lot of unknown. And I think that's been from the top, from the state level all the way down to the local level, is that we just still don't know. I mean, we're hopeful and we want things to work out, but I mean, we just have a lot of, everybody's got a lot of unanswered questions at this point.
Yeah, man, it's tough. I tell you what, the last couple of weeks, since we've been out, I've tried to stay in contact with my players as much as possible. But like you said, the Zoom meetings and all the type of Skype and FaceTime and whatever else you can think of. After a while, it kind of gets old. It's definitely. I feel like I'm getting burnt out from that, but I do miss the kids.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's just one of those things, man. We got to do it. I mean, we kind of got to do it. We got to stay in touch with them. I've been in touch with my guys. I was actually scheduling a meeting with them. I'm going to meet with them tomorrow. I've been pretty much kind of meeting bi-weekly, with my guys, kind of checking in with them, make sure they're still. I mean, at the state level and locally, they kind of set out some guidelines that the kids can use as far as grading for their, for their classes, different options, So I've been kind of sharing some information with them, the best I can. But the main thing, just kind of keep them encouraged and, tell them that, expectations, at New Bern High School, we expect that you do your best. You leave it out on the line, you commit to something 100%. So I'm just kind of just making sure they're all continuing academically to get everything they can and, kind of make the best of it.
Absolutely, man. I definitely can agree to that. I've actually met with a couple of my kids since we've been out. Obviously adhering to the guidelines of the social distancing, but we did some community service stuff over the past. And I'll tell you what, man, it was so good to see them and check up on them and have them right there and in the flesh. So it's been tough, man. But I've heard you're doing some really good things down there, and I can't wait to hear more about your journey and a little bit more about North Carolina basketball. So I appreciate you answering my question.
No problem.
All right, so I'm gonna pass it to Coach John Kamara from Parkdale High School.
What's going on, Coach? Glad to meet you today.
Man, nice to meet you, man. I'm hanging in there.
Good. It's good. So my question is going to be like a 2 to 3 part question. So my question to you is, give us a little bit of information about New Bern High School and even the previous high school. Like, what's the state of the school? Like, how you guys' record been? Like, give us some history, about the school. And also, I want to know how it was, you being a first-year head coach. I just completed my second year being a head coach. I was assistant for about 5 or 6 years, and then I got my opportunity as well. So, how has that transition been? But first off, I want learn a little bit about your school.
Man, hey, New Bern High School is great, man. It's it's the biggest high school in the area. So when you start talking about your first job being the biggest high school, in your area, that's that could be a little tough. But I mean, it's a great experience. People think of New Bern High School. I mean, just the word you hear, and people say it all the time. And Coach O will probably agree with me, as a football school. That's just what. But I mean, it's just we've won 3 state championships in football. So, but I mean, it's not a football school. It's just, our football team just happens to be really talented, but it runs through cycles just like everything else. So, but I mean, the community is great. I mean, they'll rally behind you. I haven't wanted anything that they couldn't, that they didn't give me. I mean, our games are well attended. Our student body is amazing. Everybody rallies behind athletics. And if you go to a baseball game, you got a crowd. You go out, it's on the softball field or football. So it's a great place to be. I think our administration does a great job of, creating that environment, and our school is close. Everybody is, so it's just a great place to be. But I think just if you probably ask some other people around the state, I think football is going to be what's going to come, probably the first thing to come to mind. But I mean, it should, but I mean, we support, all of our athletics are supported equally. And it's a great place to work. It's a great place to be. You know, I was at, you know, weirdly enough, I was at our rival school. I worked at West Craven for 4 years. So that was, you know, a little bit different, you know, coming from the other side, you know, the county rivalry. But, you know, it's just kind of, it was just, you know, and it was great. You know, it was great there too. I graduated from West Craven and all that. But, you know, New Bern is home. New Bern is, you know, I was, you know, chosen to be the leader of the Bears, and I'm enjoying, you know, every minute of it. I've always been in the area, though. Like I said, Pamlico is only, you know, 20 minutes away. That's the 1A school in the area. So, you know, so that was my first stint. They gave me my first opportunity, my first chance. You know, me for one, I wasn't one of those guys. I just did the best I could as an assistant coach. I never, you know, worked with, you know, guys and wanted their job or anything like that. I just wanted that we can just be the best that we can be. And my opportunity came when it came. And like I said, it wasn't, you know, 12 years or so as an assistant, you know, not being bitter, just doing the best I could to, you know, to work to make our programs better. And that's when, you know, when this opportunity came open, that's what made it so special for me, because I you know, I put my time in.
Definitely. And you never want to work against your coaches. I actually coached under Antonio Williams and played under him as well in high school. So definitely always had that working relationship. So are you a teacher?
Yes, I teach physical education at New Bern High School. So I'm a PE teacher there. And, you know, I've been just a lot of difference. When I was in Pamlico, I worked at the middle school before I worked at the high school. You know, PE jobs hard to come by in the state of North Carolina, man. You got to, you know, probably everywhere. If you get one, you got people hold on to them. So yeah, I work at the school, and it's great. I was actually at an elementary school here in town, and then when I took the job at New Bern, you know, at the end of last year, you know, they moved me to the high school for this year. So it worked out really good to be able to be there with the kids every day.
Okay. Are majority of the coaches in you guys' area teachers as well, or is a diverse mix of, you know, people that might maybe outside of the building or?
For the most part, all the head coaches, you know, are in the building. We do have some assistants that are community guys. It just kind of varies at each place. Like I said, at New Bern, you know, we're the biggest school, so I mean, it seems like we kind of got the most bodies, I guess. But you know, we serve the most students as well. So it's just kind of a little combination of everything. No, like I said, because when I was assistant at West Craven, I worked at a elementary school here in town, and I drove, you know, 20 minutes to get to the school. So it just kind of varies. You know, in an ideal world, though, obviously you'd have, you know, your coaches on staff. As far as my staff, I have my JV coach works in the building, Coach Antoine Pittman. I had two assistants though that didn't work in the school system. And then I had another assistant that was, you know, kind of worked with my JVs more, Terrence McCormick, who kind of worked in the building as well. So it just kind of varies. It kind of goes back and forth, and you know, it just kind of is what it is.
Definitely appreciate that information. So I'm gonna keep the ball rolling, and I'm gonna pass it to Antonio Williams at Bladensburg High School.
Okay.
Yeah, man. As you see, I got on my red today, man. So it's the only red I can find, though. We, you know, State of Maryland, we Under Armour. So I know y'all Adidas down there, man. So definitely, sorry about that. But moving forward, man, it's a pleasure to have you here. This is an exciting time for me. I've been politicking ways how to get my guys down there just to see the Bern. You know what I mean?
Right.
I tell people that the projects next to the water, you can go get some crabs at the projects. It's waterfront projects. They don't believe it.
You are 100% correct.
You know what I mean? So definitely, man, definitely have you here, man. Can you explain just a little bit about the league play? You touched on it before we got on air about, you know, being 4A and the conferences and who do you play, how many games and stuff like that.
Like I said, we're in a 3A, 4A split league. We have it's two 4A schools, New Bern and South Central. And then we have 3 Wayne counties. That's CBA Cox, Southern Wayne, and Eastern Wayne. And then in Pitt County, we got J.H. Rose and D.H. Conley. So we're kind of in a 4A, 3A split league. And then, like I said, non-conference, you know, in our area, like I said, you got West Craven and you got Havelock. So, and we have a county Christmas tournament. So, you know, our games pretty much are conference, and you know, we got to play your rivals, play the county schools, and that's kind of, you kind of get an opportunity to play a couple, you know, now, but you get 23 games. Our first play date, like for this upcoming year, is like November 21st. We always can start like the week of Thanksgiving. We start practice like this year, the practice starts November 2nd. So that's kind of how it works. 23 games, and then you get your conference tournament and your playoffs don't count towards that 23. So it's a very competitive league. Obviously, South Central won state title. They had Dayron Sharp before he transferred. Shaquem Phillips, they had a kid that's at UNCW now. So, South Central is, they're talented, but our league's good. Our league's balanced. Our league was very young this year. Rose was, tremendously young. We were young. South Central was young. Eastern Wayne was really talented this year. They had some experience. And so it's a good basketball conference.
So as far as the conference, right? So like for us, we're in public school here. We play 22 games. Okay. Do your games count as for your seeding? How does that work as far as the playoffs?
Yeah, okay, as far as playoffs now, you basically, we used to have predetermined brackets. We don't have that anymore. So now, in 4A, we don't get as many spots. It's not as many spots in 4A basketball as it is in 1A, 2A, and 3A. 1A, 2A, and 3A, they have a 64-team playoffs. And then 4A, we have 48 teams, 24 in the East and 24 in the West. And the top 8 seeds get a bye. 4A is kind of complicated because there's not as many 4A schools in the state. So, and basically your conference champions, based on the number of teams you have in your league, determines how many bids your conference gets. So once they seed all the automatics, your conference champions, or, sometimes you got a 2-bid league, and then it goes to, basically everybody else is a wild card. And we use max preps. We use an adjusted max prep rankings to determine who else gets in. So it's a little different. It's a little different.
That's interesting. I mean, if we went by max preps up here, we'd be in trouble up here.
Yeah, it's always one of those things that's discussed, amongst people trying to figure out exactly what the formula is, what is max preps considered, and and all that. So that's just, it's the way it is what it is. You kind of got to, if you take care of business and you win, you get in, and if you don't, the best thing
I wish we did use that, because I'm like one of the top 3 seeds every year. I don't know how it works, but
yeah, it's different, man. It's different. So like I said, your conference champions are getting, like in our situation, like we're in a 3A, 4A split league. So it's only 2 4A teams. So the team that finishes higher between us and South Central is going to be in the playoffs. And they're really good. So it's a challenge though, So it's different, man. It's different. It's just, but we only got 48 teams right now. They only let 48 teams in, I should say, into the playoffs, 24 in the East, 24 in the West. So that makes it a little bit more of a challenge. And it's just different depending on how many teams are in your league, determines how many bids you have. And then, you fill the rest of it with at-larges or, wild cards, whatever you call it.
So pretty much it's broken down almost similar to like the NCAA. Where you get bids. So now up here, just to share a little bit about here, we're broke up in 4A, 3A, 2A, and 1A. I'm a 4A school. Coach Kamar's at a 4A school. Coach Chuck is at a 1A. Tobias is at 3A. Will is 2A. Will is 2A. Then how for us, everybody makes the playoffs.
Oh, wow.
But you play in your bracket to make it to the States.
Okay.
So when you make it to the States, it's only 2 games you got to win to actually win the state championship.
Wow.
So that's how it's set up for us. But in our county alone, correct me if I'm wrong, Chuck, 27 high schools? We got 27 high schools just in our county.
Yeah, 27.
Yeah, so it's like
and some of, like in my league, on my side, so he's 4A, they're on one side, then 3A, 2A, 1A is on another side. Like there's some 1A schools that don't even play any other 1A schools. They don't play any other public schools. They only play charter schools. And charter schools are able to recruit, but they just don't. They don't go out and recruit. So they don't play any of us in the regular season, but then to come playoffs, they're the number 1 seeds because they just beat up on other charter schools.
Right.
So then I got to ended up playing at a school where we'll probably win with just my JV team.
Right.
And we can win by 40 with the JV, but they're the number 1 seed.
Man, that's different. That's different.
It's real different.
It gets a little complicated. It's always interesting to hear how other people actually how that league is set up. That's why it was good to have you on here. We were just chopping it up before we even got on about what type of question to ask, and I pretty much we want to know as much as we can because we get this different perspective on what other teams have to go through, and then we look at it on the outside looking in. We doing all this complaining because we got to play at a away game for a quarterfinal, and in North Carolina you got to have a bed.
Yeah, it's different, man. Like I said, it's different. Just it kind of just depends on just your league and how many teams are in each classification and how many teams total you have. So it's a little bit of a challenge, but I mean it works. I can't complain about it. It works. And
then my last thing too, Coach, it's not a question. How many kids what is considered 4A in North Carolina population?
The cutoff, I'm not even sure. I would think it's somewhere around when you start getting around that, because I mean we're considered a small 4A school now. We got like somewhere around 1,800, I think. So I think 15. It's just I'm not really sure exactly where the ADM kind of falls at, but
that's similar to us.
Yeah, it's somewhere around in there.
We're one of the biggest 3A schools in the state. We got about 14.
Okay. Yeah, it's somewhere in that. Like I said, it's somewhere in that. Like I said, we got some schools, I think that, 11, 1,200 that are 3A. But I think for us, it kind of, it's for a period of time. Like they have a realignment every so often. So I think next year we're going to have another realignment, and then I think everybody will kind of be reclassified so that number can kind of, go up and down a little bit as to where we're at.
All right, well, thank you for that information, man. So you don't know, but you're about to know right now. I'm about to pass you over to Championship Chuck. So the guy that's about to ask you this question, that's all he do is win championships. So he can ask you some questions.
Hey, man, don't pay them dudes no mind, man. Nah, Coach, I appreciate you being on the show today, man. I always love getting an opportunity to talk to guys from North Carolina. Like I told you, I coached at Barton College for a year. I'm a graduate of Barton College. So I'm a self-proclaimed North Carolinian myself, man.
I like it.
Yeah, so I went down there and I absolutely fell in love with the state of North Carolina. I mean, I don't think it gets enough credit for what it does in terms of the basketball community. But it's some incredible ball players down that way, man.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that, man. It's a special place.
Absolutely. That's evidenced by what you're saying today. So my question for you today is, here in the DC area, it's like a huge emphasis on private schools. And I've noticed that a lot of private schools have started to pop up and Christian schools have started to pop up in North Carolina.
Right.
And people are starting to see that that's like the route towards high major basketball. Tell me what you've seen in North Carolina. What are the trends? And do you kind of, do you agree with that? Because I want to get into the public versus private thing and take it from your approach here in North Carolina.
For me, it's a little different because, I mean, what a lot of people don't know about me, what I don't really brag and boast, I used to be really heavy in the travel basketball. Like, I actually partnered with a guy from DMV, Chris Lawson. So we had our group was called the North Carolina Express. It was kind of a branch off of the Bowie Express deal. So I learned a lot about, the private school and public school stuff with some of the more elite players that I had at the time. I mean, I've, coach kids, and you start learning about, that was the first time I learned about like reclassification. Like, what, a kid can go to this private school and like repeat a grade? Like, that's okay. So, I learned a lot of, stuff about that stuff, through travel ball. It was just, but I mean, for us here, I mean, there are not really there's some private schools here, but not ones that are like, that are building like a basketball powerhouse or anything. So I don't really lose any kids to it. I can't remember a lot of kids in our area, just getting plucked to go to private schools. When I was kid I had, Shane Whitfield, when I was at 1A, when I was at Pamlico, he was probably, he was the, kid that was approached. And it was hard to get, a lot of, schools to come out. He was probably mid-major plus kid. So, there were some challenges as far as trying to get coaches down to see him. So he always got approached with transferring and leaving. I think he actually ended up going to Florida. He actually ended up going to Word of God actually in Raleigh. So, we kind of dealt with a little bit there, but it's not really a huge thing. And at the end of the day, for me, it's kind of, it's your preference. You do whatever as a family, you got to do whatever you got to do to figure out how it's going to, how you're going to get there. And if that's what you think, and that's what, you're not going to change your parents' mind. So it's really no point.
Yeah,
even trying. So we just kind of educate them. But it's not a huge problem. I haven't seen a huge problem, with it, myself. Like I said, but I was familiar with it through, coaching travel ball at a high level. You started to kind of, see these things like, wait, we just played against this kid this past year and now he's only a sophomore again.
Yeah.
So, those are some of the things that I kind of learned about it.
Gotcha. Yeah, so one of my experiences when I was in North Carolina was the Greenfield School in Wilson.
Yep.
And they at times they're a great school, very well coached by Coach Salter down there.
Yep.
But there are guys who have excelled at their high schools who moved over to Greenfield School, and they have utilized that as a route to try to go to a higher level in terms of college.
Right.
So just some things, and I've noticed like a lot more Christian schools have started to pop up.
Right.
Churches that have had schools for a long time that now all of a sudden have high school and have started programs. Do you feel like that's affected enrollment? Because I know you said the enrollment was down in places like Kinston High School where those guys are really good.
I mean, it changes the scope. I think it changes the scope of things, and it does give people another option. Actually, I think I read on Twitter a couple weeks ago that a kid from our league, a really good player in our league, was going to go to Greenfield. Since you mentioned that, it made me think about them that a kid in our league, one of our better players, was gonna transfer to Greenfield next year. I just happened to read that, coming across my Twitter feed. But I mean, it's definitely, created some challenges, I'm sure, to give some people, anytime you start losing numbers, I mean, it's going to be effect. I mean, when you look at it from a pure basketball standpoint, it's such a small number probably that I don't think it makes that huge difference when they start talking about you being a 1A versus a 2A. But, I mean, I'm sure, that it's a challenge. And probably if I was a person that was affected by it a little bit more personally, I would probably see it, a little bit differently. But the fact that I haven't really, in the places that I've been, I haven't really experienced it. So, therefore I don't really have, any strong, feeling.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think the concentration of having a concentration of talented kids at one school will dictate whether a kid's going to be a Division I player, or is just a Division I ball player is a Division I ball player no matter where he plays?
I mean, that's a tough one because I am a person that feels like, I kind of, see, you getting to go against that competition every single day, especially when you start talking about your big kids, if you get blessed to get a 6'8", 6'7", 6'8" kid at your high school, the kid he's going to practice against every day is probably going to be, 6 foot at best. Your other post player's going to be 6 foot. So I can kind of see how someone could feel like that's a better avenue for him. As a coach, I feel like I'm going to find ways to, keep that kid engaged, keep him getting better. But so it's kind of goes back and forth. I could see it from both sides. Obviously, if I had that talented that high major kid, I would love for him to stay. But at the end of the day, if that kid felt like in some way that staying was going to hurt him, I wouldn't have any problem. It will probably hurt now, but
absolutely.
And so it's just kind of like, and the 1A kid that we had, that was, I mean, you talking about a kid that was a 6'7" kid in 1A basketball. I mean, you got something special, around here. I mean, kid had 50. He had 50 one night, for us with, in no time. And then, we lose that kid after 2 years. Maybe he played 3 years. We lose him after 3 years, and, he moved on. So it was, it's a big blow, but at the end of the day, I'm still friends with the family now. His dad, I can call his dad right now for anything. Kid can call me from anything. That's what they thought made the most sense. So you kind of you just pick up and move on. The game's still going to start in November, regardless of who you got. So you got to get what you got better.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I appreciate it. I'm going to pass you over to Coach Will Maynard.
Okay.
He's going to ask the next question. Thanks, Coach.
Okay, no problem. Appreciate you.
Coach, it's great to meet you. Glad to have you on the show.
Man, nice to meet you, man.
I'm kind of familiar with New Bern a little bit. Back
Okay.
when I was a kid, New Bern used to come up to Annapolis every year to play in this event called Peace in the Streets. So they
Okay.
used to always bring some kids up there
Yes.
every year. I don't know if it was associated to a wreck or something like that, but they used to come up to Annapolis every year. It was some
It was. I actually made that trip before. We get on the charter bus and we'd head up there and play. It was outside, outdoors.
Yeah,
Right?
yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was Peace in the Streets. So we used to do that every. You look forward to that trip. We took from kids all the way up to adults. So man, it was unique experience. The Stanley White gym used to always kind of put it together. With the police department. I think with Officer Powell, Chandler Powell, at the time that I remember when I was coming through. So yeah, we went up there, man. It was different. It was different.
Yeah, I loved it because it gave me a chance to play with players from my area that I never would play with. Because, they knew that you guys would bring some ballers. So they would always try to load our team up with, like, all kind of kids and all that stuff to try to play y'all. I know Philly used to come up there. Philly used to come down. And Baltimore used to come down. And I remember you guys had some ballers. That's the first thing I used to say, man. Dang, they had some ballers down there.
And I forgot about those days, man. It's a small world to see how things get connected.
Yeah, it is. So you kind of touched on it a little bit, but about the AAU. But my question to you is, how do you help your kids through the process of picking an AAU team?
Yeah, man, one thing I learned about this whole AAU thing, man, I see friendships are made, broken. It's different, man. It's a different beast. I mean, you got, people who you used to be friends with who aren't even talking anymore behind travel basketball. So, my role changed from running a program to just being the head coach. And what I try to do now, honestly, and everybody kind of sees it differently. And I never really understood why, I used to, when I was trying to get players, I would talk to some high school coaches and they'd be like, man, I just stay out of it. They do whatever they do and, they just go out and kind of get better. For me, it's not huge right now. I think we got some people that got some programs that are younger and they're going to be kind of up and coming. But, right now I just kind of try to just give kids information. If somebody, if somebody call, I just kind of talk to the kid about it, tell them such and such gave you a call. I call the parent. Is it all right if I give this person your phone number? Now, if they ask me for my opinion, I'll give it, but, sometimes, you stay out of it until you have to be in it, but I never understood why some high school coaches would just kind of be like, man, I just stay out of it because it can get messy. So, but I mean, again, it's just like anything else. I would give my kids advice. If you ask, I'll do the best I can. I always tell my kids all the time that if I don't know something, I'm not going to tell you something wrong. I'm going to try to find out. So I'll research, I do my research, try to, make contact with some people. And I just kind of try to do it that way versus the other way. And then when I was when I was running my own program, obviously, I wanted kids to play for me, but they didn't all play with me. And then that's okay, so I still kind of, maintain good relationships and did all I could to, to kind of help the kids and kind of just leave it there.
So can you see yourself getting back into it?
I don't know, man. I don't know. It was a lot, man. A lot of travel. I enjoyed it. A lot of time on the road, but I don't see myself getting into it in my current as a head varsity basketball coach. I got to kind of give that, all my focus. When I was an assistant, my first year, I started doing it because I figured out, man, I got to do what I can to get out of it. Because in North Carolina, you can work with 4 kids. It's the max you have. So my thing was, I'm gonna get my best. I'm gonna take our best 4 players as an assistant coach, and I'm gonna surround them with some other kids in the area, and I'm gonna get our best 4 kids better. So, but now my responsibility is to the whole entire program. How do I tell? It's kind of hard to tell my 5th kid. You know what I mean? Like, nah, you can't rock with us until the summer. You can't play with us in the spring. So, in my current position right now, I think I'll kind of stay out of it. And but then also I want to be able to go support my kids who are playing. If they got a tournament or something, and I'm on the weekend, I might can go down for a Saturday or if it's somewhere that I can get to, just kind of support them, kind of be there to support more of them versus just being locked in with that one, just being locked in with 4 kids.
Yeah, that's always been my dilemma with coaching AAU. It's funny because I actually was going to coach AAU this year, and with Team Durant, and I'm gonna be honest, the main reason, and not as a head coach, because I don't want to be a head coach. That's too much. I couldn't be too much for me to be a head coach of AAU as well as my team. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Not knocking anybody at the door, but that's just not my thing. But on the flip side of me going to do AAU, I was going to miss out on going to see my kids, like you said. I like not coaching because I could go to, you know what I mean? I might get lucky and catch 4 or 5 of them in one tournament. But if not, then I could just say, you know what, I'm going to spend this Saturday as a day to go watch my kids, or this weekend to go see my kids. So I understand what you're talking about. It gives you a lot of freedom that sometimes the AAU coaches don't have. Yeah,
I mean, it was because my memories of doing it is, I know how much time it took. Like I said, this game of basketball took me all the way to, when I really was, when I was really, had it going. I mean, we had kids from Wilmington, which is 2 hours away, kids from Raleigh, which is 2 hours away, trying to play with kids from here, trying to keep that thing molded together. And to be really good, to be elite, that's what you got to do. I mean, it's kind of hard to look at having enough talent right here with it being so many teams, in order to be elite. So it was just so time consuming that, as for now, I'd rather just kind of keep that flexibility, be able to support the kids and, continue to see it grow.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that answer. And we're gonna have to talk because we need to get that started.
Yeah.
It was definitely a good thing. I like to get that started back. I know some of the people that ran it don't really run the league anymore, but
okay.
I definitely would like to get that started and get you guys to come back up, and the team from Philly again, the team from Baltimore, and just have a nice little weekend where we play basketball and just, promote anti-violence and all that stuff. So definitely we need to touch base again.
Yeah, I'll make sure you get my information. We can talk. Like I said, the person who was in charge of Parks and Recs then is in a higher position now. So I'm pretty sure he'll be, Torrance Williams will be probably more than willing to kind of rally behind it and kind of figure out how we can get it back started.
All right, perfect. I appreciate that. I'm going to pass it along to Desmond Small of Washington Adventist University.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Good, man. It's a pleasure having you on the show today. Learning some things about North Carolina basketball. My family originally from North Carolina as well.
Okay.
From Lower Washington.
Okay. All right.
In the Raleigh area and stuff like that. So, I got North Carolina roots as well. Coming from there. My question is this. Up here, we doing like one of the things they started in the past year. They did like a live period where us college coaches can come out and recruit kids during the high school season. I would say, are you guys doing something like that down in North Carolina?
Yes. There's our state puts on an event, but it's kind of the kids are invitation only. So they take, I don't remember exactly how many kids it was, but our state has an event that they send you out use a form that you fill out about who's recruiting your kid, what level, their numbers, their size. And then they bring the top, try to bring the top kids together in the state, for an event. I want to say, I know it might have been 2. It might have been 2 of them. I want to say it was 2 of them. It might have been 1, but I think it was 2. I think it was 2 events that the state did, and I think that was, a good thing to kind of, get all the, talent in the state together to, in under one roof to try to, kind of create that platform. It's a challenge, it's a challenge to get, coaches in the gyms, because at the same time, it's, all the college coaches are coaching their own teams as well, and then, I'm going to go down to such and such school tonight and I might see one Division I prospect or one D2 prospect playing against, a bunch of, a team that has no prospect. So I can kind of understand, the challenges of it. So it's always good to have an event like that to be able to get, all of the kids under one roof.
Oh, that's amazing to hear. I'm gonna have to make sure I take a trip down there if I can make it during our season to do so. So what do you guys like? What do your specific county or your school or your coaches are doing to get your kids more exposure? Is it more outside of that event?
As far as the good thing about us is, our kids our kids get the opportunity to play. I mean, our really good kids in our area. I mean, I'm appreciative that, Garner Road, they reach out and get some of our kids, some of our kids in the area, CP3 will kind of come down, Team Loaded will come down. So our kids are, our Division I kids are getting the opportunity to play, so they're, and finding one of those circuit teams that, they give them that opportunity. It's, they do know about the kids in our area, so that helps.
Oh, okay. So do you don't never get any college coaches just coming through the gym or just on any levels, like not just Division I's? Like I'm NAI, so of course
Right.
I got relationships with all these guys on there, and they invite me to the gym all the time, or I show up, or it doesn't matter. I just build a relationship, and it might be a kid that may not be college ready immediately, but they end up being down the line. Do you build those relationships, inviting coaches out?
Yes. Yeah,
see some
definitely.
kids?
All the time. I pride myself on having, relationships with coaches from all levels, from junior college, all the way up to Division I. So, I think it's very important to be able to have opportunities and be on a first name basis with a lot of people that you can use to kind of help kids. We Region 10 is a junior college that's around here. That's where a lot of the schools, Lenoir, Pitt, Fayetteville Tech, Wake Tech. A lot of those schools are here, and they do a good job of coming to support the kids and to come and to evaluate the talent. And we always, all the coaches in the area, if you got a kid, I mean, we put something together. We reach out. And we don't really have a problem with getting kids in. We also, a friend of mine who I work with over at West Craven High School, David Fernandez, he has we put together a senior all-star game together. It was his idea. He was like, man, how can you help me? And so I had some contacts through travel ball, some coaches that I knew. So we always have a senior all-star game that we try to put on the weekend that doesn't conflict with anything else. And we usually get, it's a boys and girls events, and we have a lot of the, junior college level based on the level of kids that we have. If you get, if you got all, D2 talent kids or D3 talent kids, those are the ones that we kind of target to try to get them down here to kind of support the kids. Okay.
Well, it's great insight, man. I'd love to get some kids from New Bern, man, if they can play for us at Washington and Venice. So, I'm another contact. You can always reach out to me if you got some kids that you think can probably play at our level.
Okay.
And I appreciate it. I'm going to pass it to Tobias Jenner from Huntington.
Okay. I appreciate it, Coach.
No problem.
Hey, how's everything? Again, I tell you what, man, it's been a pleasure listening and getting some really good input on North Carolina as a whole and the basketball. And actually, it's funny just to hear all the connections that you have in this area. Really without even knowing, with Coach Will and the violence event, and then obviously with Coach Chuck, Championship Chuck with Barton and Coach O, and so it's just crazy how everything is just interlocked.
Yeah, man. Like I said, it's a small world, man. This game of basketball will, connect you and take you places, and I've definitely used it to my advantage for sure.
Absolutely, man. And it's also great to hear that you're doing so much and putting so much back into the community. Obviously, with the senior event and with AAU and things of that nature, man. So it sounds like you're doing really good things on there, man. And I was looking through the Twitter feed. I know Coach O had the Twitter feed rolling down, man, and I've seen a lot of good things, man. So it seems like you're doing tremendous stuff, man. So let's keep that up. So I'm gonna ride right into my next question.
Okay.
And I always do my research. I always got my pen and my paper out, of course. So I'm not sure if you really know. This weekend, which I want to say it's Friday, the 15th, we have a documentary coming out called In the Water that kind of showcases and documents the game of basketball within Prince George's County, where majority of these guys are from and coach in, and how talented and how rich of a basketball talent or talent pool there is. So we know North Carolina is rich with basketball talent, man. You know, and I'm just gonna drop some names real quick, and hopefully I'm not too far off. But you know, you're looking at guys, of course, like Michael Jordan, which we're looking at. We're all watching The Last Dance. You know, Hubert Davis, Brad Doherty, Chris Paul, John Wall, James Worthy, Jerry Stackhouse, Curry, McAdoo. And then I know you spoke a little bit about AAU, and a bunch of us coach with Team Takeover.
Okay.
So we got a chance to play Gardner Road last year at in Hampton.
Okay.
And we definitely saw some guys from North Carolina like Deron Sharp and Carson McCorkey who put on a show. First, I was sitting front row, you know, me, Coach O, and Coach Chuck, and Coach Wade, who's not on here. That was a unbelievable game. You know, we pride ourselves on our basketball talent, but I mean, those guys from North Carolina, they put on a show, and you know, David West was the coach, so that was amazing to see, and actually brought us back down to earth a little bit. You know, humbled us. So my question is, do you believe there's a misconception about North Carolina high school basketball or their players?
I mean, that's a tough question, man. I think in some ways, you know, we always try to, you know, put that chip on our shoulder to, you know, to feel disrespected, you know. But I mean, we've had some talented players that have done some really good things, you know. So it's kind of, you know, I think some of our guys have kind of gotten their due, you know. The one thing about it, I think, as things are changing as far as social media and things of that, you know, nature, you know, the big thing now is, you know, North Carolina's calling itself the hoop state. I mean, we're the hoop state, you know, and so, I mean, I think it's fun to get that going back and forth, and I think travel ball a lot of times gives you that platform. I mean, I've taken the team to Boo's Place and, you know, and played well. You know, I've taken the team to the, you know, to Vegas, to the Adidas Super 64 and went to the Final Four. You know, so and I think it's getting better and better and better as, you know, it's now, you know, we have some of those same opportunities with having shoe sponsor teams that just don't go on the circuit and get beat. I mean, CP3, Garner Road, you know, those guys go on the circuit and compete. You know, you got Team Felton, you got Team Wall, you know, Curry's got a team now.
Yeah.
You know, you always had I can't think of guys from Charlotte. Hold on, Kennedy Meeks and all those guys played with I'm drawing a blank right now. God, what's the Charlotte group?
You talking about Jeff McGinnis?
Yeah, you got McGinnis. But I was thinking about the Nike team. The Nike team
Team Final
out of Charlotte.
No,
Team Final.
Charlotte.
Is it Night Riders?
Nope, that's Florida.
No, it's Team Final. I think.
Team Finals. I think that's
not Team.
I think that's Philly. Oh man, Kennedy Meeks, Sendarius Stormwell, all those guys played with the group out of Charlotte. Anyway, I'm drawing the EYBL team. I'm drawing a blank right now, and that's probably disservice to them. But you know, no knock on them. It's just so many great teams, so much great talent. So I think, you know, the kids in North Carolina are getting the opportunity to kind of play and kind of showcase themselves, and it's great that we have so many, you know, shoe sponsor teams that, you know, I think we're kind of getting our respect, you know, on the circuit as well.
Absolutely, man. I'm actually looking it up right now. We've got my computer on deck. Let me see. Team United.
Team United. Yep. Team United out of Charlotte. Oh man, my bad. Like I said, I messed that all up. But yeah, but I mean, we got our fair share of, you know, shoe sponsor team. I think if everything would have played out this year, I think CP3 was going to be, from my understanding of basketball, they were going to be, you know, one of the top teams. I thought they had I thought their 16s were really good last year, and I thought that 17 group they were going to have with the kid, the Styles kid from Kinston. He played on the 17s last year as a 16. So
yeah.
So I thought they had a chance to be special. I was actually reading on Twitter. I was reading a little debate about that just the other day about who was going to be the best 17 team this year. So
I'm gonna say Takeover. I know a couple other guys may say some other. I'll definitely say Takeover.
Hey, I understand that, man. You got to support the hometown, and Takeover is always strong. So you can't debate that.
Yeah, man. You know, I'm definitely gonna. I would have to go with them. I'd be a fool not to. But that, man, there's some other talented teams in the area, as we know, of course. So, but man, you know, North Carolina, you know, and I ran off a list of names, and I know there's a lot of people that I'm forgetting, and I'm not even going to try to, you know, go over that list and try to remember some of the other guys. But, you know, I in my opinion, I would say that North Carolina is definitely up there, especially in the region on the East Coast, up there with any other basketball hotbed. And that's just my opinion. And obviously you're able to give us some insight on that, man. So I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem, man. Yeah, it's definitely some talent here, and I think, you know, we'll continue to, you know, fly under the radar. That's what you want to call it. But when everybody gets to the event, put them sneakers on, you know, the North Carolina kids will definitely be able to hold their own.
Absolutely, man. Well, like I said, it's been a pleasure having you on. You know, hopefully, and I say this to all the guys and girls who we've had on, the ladies who we had on. Hopefully, when this is all said and done, it'd be great to get everybody together. I know you're a little farther away, but if you ever made your way back up here for that event with Coach Will Maynard, you know, always, you know, let us know. We could all link up and talk hoops, of course. Have a good time.
Yeah, I got some family up that way, man. I'm gonna have to make sure I get some contacts and we find a way to stay in touch.
Oh man, no doubt. So I'm gonna throw the lob. I'm gonna throw the alley oop over to John Kamar from Parkdale.
Yeah, Coach. You know, I'm just sitting back, and you know, and you made all these connections with all these coaches, and I forgot to address my connection. I went to St. Aug, and
okay,
you know, so I did. I was down in North Carolina for about 5 years, and you know, our open gyms consisted of all like. I used to have to go against like Dez Wells when he was in the 10th grade, Rodney Purvis,
okay,
PJ Tucker, Flip Murray, David West came through the gym like 2 times, Ryan Hurl, you know, so I always tell people about North Carolina because my open gyms were crazy, like, and I seen like some great talent, and I used to have to go up against them, like Bishop that went to
Bishop.
he used to come through our gym, so it's definitely. North Carolina had hoopers, and I always said that to everybody. So North Carolina is at the top of my list because I seen it. I seen it live.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, man, it's definitely been some, you know, some talent, and you know, until you really kind of go out and, you know, do some things, do some travel ball stuff, you don't really understand it until you, you know, until you're kind of in it. But so it's definitely some talent here though.
Definitely. So my question to you, you know, just looking back, you know, looking back at your career, you know, you've been coaching how like 10 years now?
Oh man, since 06. So that's
since 06?
Yeah,
so
14 years.
What would be your most memorable moments, you know, coaching, you know, what does coaching give you? Like, what is your top moments, you know, wins or getting kids in school, or what's been your highlights?
Man, so far, it's, you know, getting kids in school. And, you know, we when we start talking about, you know, the state of North Carolina getting respect, I think also, you know, I took some pride in taking some smaller town kids and, you know, going and competing, you know, on the travel level was definitely, you know, a very it was a great feeling. I mean, like I said, I had, you know, to say, you know, I coached the NBA player, Kadeem Allen from Wilmington, you know, played, you know, came up in my express program, you know, and he's playing in the NBA right now. But to be able to go in those same gyms with that elite talent and be competitive, where I mean, anybody can get. Sometimes you can get in the tournament if you got enough money to pay for it. But to be able to go in and compete, you know, it's just a really good feeling. And as far as now, you know, with our high school kids, same thing, you know, being able to, you know, help the kids get to the next level. You know, see them be able to be, you know, productive citizens, you know, all of that's really important. And, you know, it makes me feel good that I'm making a difference and I'm kind of doing things the right way. And as I, you know, take on this journey here at New Bern High School, I want to continue to, you know, push my kids forward and you know, and keep this thing moving and, you know, keep kids doing positive things.
Definitely. I can definitely attest to, you know, taking them smaller teams. Like before
because I coached for DC Premier. That's why Tobias was throwing all them jabs. So that's like, you know, friendly rivals. You know, that's the talk of the town.
Right.
The team is better, what program is better. But yeah, before I was doing that, we had a small program team nationals, and, you know, just be able to take the team to Myrtle Beach or go to, you know, Boo Williams, or, you know, and go to all these high level tournaments with, you know, kids that might not be, you know, on the rankings list, you know, high on the rankings, and go and be in some ball games. You know, definitely, I think we went to Big Shots in Myrtle Beach when it was going on, and we was playing. We had our 17U team, and we playing on the floor right next to Dennis Smith.
Right.
And, you know, and we didn't have nobody of that caliber, but like we in the same gym, in the same bracket, you know, and we one game away from playing against Dennis Smith. So
right.
I can definitely attest to that. You know, when you have a program and you're just trying to, you know, build them, you're doing right by those kids as well. So I can definitely attest to that.
And that's what kind of made it, because everybody kind of doubted us, man. What can you, man, you ain't got no business doing this. I mean, we went to Vegas, and, you know, we beat the Atlanta Celtics. We beat New Heights, who was out of New York. So, I mean, we just, you know, and probably, you know, in the Final Four, we ran up on Eric Gordon. And if Coach Campbell had changed his matchup a little bit, I think we would have had the opportunity to, you know, to play in that final game, you know, with my 16s that year. But, I mean, that year alone, I mean, that group of kids, take kids that hadn't really, you know, they hadn't really done a lot of things. I mean, we went to LeBron James, we went to Ohio, played in the King James, you know, went to Boo Williams, went to Vegas. So, you know, those kind of experiences for those kids is amazing. But then even with when my kids were of age to start playing travel ball, you know, my two kids that are playing junior college ball now here at LCC, to be able to take them, you know, to some of those same, when we went to the Under Armour tournament in Georgia and played in the, you know, that big complex, you know, in Georgia, we took them there at 16. You know, we went to the Chris Paul tournament in Winston. You know, so to be able to do some of those same things for different groups, and that group of kids was really just all community based. And we played against, and all the kids always remember because we always talk about it all the time. We played against Team Loaded at the time when Armando Baycott was still playing with them. Isaiah Todd was on that team, and we took that team to overtime with Kevin Keats, who I know on a first name basis with, sitting in the front row, you know. And this is just a bunch of kids from Craven County, from New Bern, just, you know, that are we're at Big Shots in Myrtle Beach, and we were able to take a small team like that and, you know, push, you know, a powerhouse team, you know, to an overtime game. So I mean, those kind of experiences, man, it's just unbelievable.
Definitely. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass it to Coach O.
Yeah, man. I definitely that's my grandson in the background, but I definitely can just having flashbacks, just thinking about making that trip down North Carolina and going down there and living in Pembroke.
Okay.
At the back, coast to the lake by the water moccasins. That's where I grew up. Williams family is thick. The Dove Funeral Home, that's my family. Dion and all of them, my guys, that's my family. And then I just look at it, man, and it's different down there. And, you know, we talk about in the water up here, but it's definitely something in that water down there in North Carolina as well, man. So it's been a pleasure, man, just to hear you say the word Stanley White. That's why I hit my first home run playing baseball in the Stanley White Red. You know, making that bike ride across the bridge to get over there from Pembroke to play in a baseball game. It's just some good things, man. Before we go, though, because I already know I could tell by the type of guy you are that you are very humble. Oh, yeah. And I already know. But right now, it's not going to be humble time because we need the people to know.
All right.
So the time is now. We want you to either explain or tell us about some guys that you either coached or coached against that names that don't get brought up that needs their name to be rung out in basketball in North Carolina.
I mean, in our conference, you know, just in our league, I mean, Chris Cherry at South Central is, you know, I mean, he's amazing, man. Just kind of, I mean, obviously, you know, you look at him and, you know, he's got, you know, Dayron Sharp and those guys, and you feel like, you know, but people don't understand he's been winning since he's been there without the Dayron Sharps of the world. So, I mean, I put him up as far as a high school basketball coach. I mean, the way you know the run and jump is coming, and ain't nothing you can do about it still. You know what I mean? He's still going to find a way to get it done. I mean, David Fernandez, who I work with at West Craven, he coached on the girls side, and I mean took West Craven High School to. I mean, they went to the regional finals. I mean, West Craven is a little, small school, only one feeder school. And I mean, he had a girl, Jamie Cherry, who ended up playing at North Carolina. She scored over, 2,000 plus. She's one of the top scorers. She missed a couple games because we had snow and ice one year. She probably be top 2 in the state in scoring, just in the state of North Carolina. So, I mean, what he does is really special. Rob Maloney down at D.H. Conley, he, night in and night out, man, when you look at it and you like, oh man, we're gonna beat them tonight, and they right in the game with any and everybody. The way he kind of controls the tempo, runs his Carolina style stuff, and I mean stuff that's gonna be kind of hard to guard. Earl Sadler at Pamlico, 1A high school, who Pamlico County ain't much. If it wasn't for Winston-Salem Prep, would probably have. He just happens when he gets to state championship, he runs into them, and they got high major talent every single year. But he takes his kids from small 1A school that everybody plays football. He got to turn those same kids around after they make a deep run in football playoffs. And I mean, their kids, if I'm not mistaken, their kids went to the state championship in football. So that means you got them late, you got them in December, and then they play for a state championship in basketball in March. So I mean, things like that are just kind of remarkable when you start, looking at coaches, in our area, being able to kind of, do things that are really special. And obviously, I mean, Coach Tyndall down at Kinston, I mean, he's doing a really good job. I mean, when you have, Kinston's talented, but I mean, somebody's got to manage the talent and keep it together. Farmville Central, Coach Williford down at Farmville, I mean, they've won multiple state championships. They had a D1 kid this past year who's going, I think he's going to Central. They got a junior that's already committed to state. So Farmville Central's doing things. Coach Williford down there is doing a great job. So it's a lot of really good, high school basketball coaches, in the state. And I definitely, enjoy the challenges of going against them night in and night out. And they definitely deserve some respect, man.
Yeah, definitely, man. It's always great to hear about coaches, man. And everybody know Kinston, of course, because of, Stackhouse. You had Brandon, and you had Bullock. Bullock came from down there and stuff like that. But they definitely have some great talent, and people don't even understand how close Kinston is to New Bern, is to Greenville. You know what I mean? So, like, in that one little, I guess you can call it a triangle, whatever it is, the road. You know what I mean? Like Rock Road, you know what I mean? But that's good. So now, how about some players?
Right now, we got
past or present.
Past or present. I mean, like, you just look at past players. Like I told you, Zach Culberson, who's playing in Sweden right now, had a really good career. He scored 1,000 points in 2 years at Coastal after taking the junior college route. People don't know that Kyron Bowman, who's playing with Golden State, is from Havelock, which is in Craven County, which is right down the street from New Bern. He went to Boston College, played with Team Wall. He actually was playing football. He had an offer from Carolina to play football, and as a junior, he decided that he's saying, I'm not playing no more football. I'm just concentrating on basketball. And now the kid's a pro. Josh Culberson was another one of the Culberson boys. He scored 2,000 points at West Craven, so he was really special at what he did. People don't realize Antoine Scott, who's my good friend, who's from New Bern. I mean, who is very well respected. Went to Wake Forest. I mean, went to Oak Hill, graduated from Oak Hill.
That's my cousin. Yeah,
man, it's good people, man. I was just with him the other day. So Antoine, man.
Tell him you talk to me. Watch what he say.
I'm gonna have to let him know. Yeah, man. So he was like I said, man, super talented dude, man. Played with, with And One with the mixtapes and all that. I mean, it was him. He was on the tour. He was a globetrotter. He played overseas. So I lean on him for everything. I mean, everything that I need, man. I lean on him. He does everything he can to help our kids out to get what they need. But I mean, New Bern's has some talent, man. Sean Simpson, who was a defensive, guru. Troy Pennington, who's my assistant coach, was played for the team that plays against the Globetrotters, the Generals. I think Generals play against the Globetrotters. So you had him. So the list of talent, man, Jeremy McDaniel, who from New Bern, who played for Buffalo, but I mean, he's probably, I think Coach Green was the high school coach at the time, who said he's probably one of the few kids that he ever seen that could have been, was a high major football player and a high major basketball player. I mean, he could run, jump, and dunk like you never want to see it. So, I mean, Jeremy Special, I think he's coaching in the Greensboro area right now. So, I mean, he's, another special person that played, athletics at New Bern High School. So, like I said, man, we've had a lot of talent that come through here, and it's going to continue to come and continue to grow.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for that information, man. And, people don't understand how much Antoine kind of like mixed things up in New Bern, because it was at that time New Bern was kind of rough then.
Yeah.
What I mean? It was going through some things, what I mean? But to get out of there and actually go out and get to college and do his thing, man, great to hear that name again. So, Coach, we're pretty much done, man. But the time is now for you. If you have any questions for us, we got 5, 10, 15, whatever time you have left in you, you can kind of like ask us some questions that you maybe have some concerns or want some answers to.
Yeah, I would just, one thing, like I said, I come in, playing a lot of travel ball. We played a lot of DMV Elite events and, stuff with Chris and things like that. How do you guys, like, with it being so many travel teams, what is the challenge as far as, who runs with Takeover and who runs with Durant and who runs with Premier and, do kids get away sometimes, loaded, found their way into your backyard a little bit. Like, how do you guys manage that?
And can I say something before y'all go? Because I know what y'all both going to say. I'm not going to say what y'all say. I think the biggest thing is like what we talked about when we was talking to Bridges, is that in our area, there's so many high school head coaches that coach AAU.
Okay.
So I'm gonna let y'all go ahead and do y'all part.
I'll go first, and I'll let the other guys chime in. I've been coaching AAU for a couple years, probably not as long as everybody else, but I kind of got into it because I wanted to get into coaching, and I've seen a couple different things. I coached with a couple different levels of teams. I coached with teams that are more like your local teams, just giving kids a shot. And then I've been coaching with more of a shoe sponsor team with more elite kids. And the one thing that I've noticed and seen is your relationships with kids and the relationships with coaches and relationships with the parents. I mean, if you can build those relationships early with a kid and kind of build their trust with their family, they're more likely to stay with your program, especially if you are doing right by them. If you're not going to do right by the kid or their family, and it's not about making them promises or saying, okay, you're going to get this much playing time, this, that, and the other. But if you do right by them, then they'll stick around, just like any person would. But we do have a lot of AAU teams in this area. Obviously, we got at least 4 EYBL teams. You got Durant, Takeover, Team Final, Mello, Boo Williams. So, I mean, I want to say that's 5 right there, just in this little area alone. So, having kids jump ship to other teams is something that people worry about. But I look at it like this, the talent bed is so rich and full of talented players that, if you lose a particular player and you hope that you don't, then, that opens up another opportunity and an avenue for another kid to jump on the team and kind of show why they deserve their shot. So, it's crazy in this area when it comes to amateur basketball, AAU travel basketball, but it's fun. It's to me, it's almost like the Wild West, man. It's we with the virus, we had a bunch of kids that came to our tryout, and we coached a 17 Orange team, which is right under the EYBL team.
Okay.
And we had come to the tryout from other AAU teams that I had no idea they was even coming, but they see the production and the way that we do things and the way we carry ourselves. So they wanted to be a part of it. So that's my take on the AAU. I know some guys will say some other things. So that's just my take.
Okay.
I'll go. I thought Dez. I know I was waiting on Dez. I'll go, but basically in the same shoes. I mean, it's on the coaching aspect. I think we had coaches on here. You know, we had I think we had DC Premier, Takeover, and Team Durant, and another team called the District, all on one call. And you know, like everyone said, it just the talent in this area is rich. And you know, once you get in the tryouts and things like that, everybody can't make every team. And, you know, that's just a testament to the area, you know, with kids. Everybody can't make every team, but we, like Coach Tobias said, we have so many circuit teams that we can go out and we can go play in every circuit, and we can go in any state and people know it's DMV basketball. So, I mean, it gets complicated, you know, relationships go sour sometimes, but, you know, at the end of the day, I think the coaches are starting to do right by their kids, and the connection is getting built from coaches to players, and, you know, it's being more respectable. Like you see, like Coach Will Maynard, he was going to jump out and he was going to coach AAU this year. So you're getting better guys, and not saying it wasn't like that in the past, but you're getting genuine guys that's really going out there and coaching. And these kids really can play in this area, you know. So we got Team Durant and, you know, Takeover on the EYBL. You got DC Premier on Under Armour. You had the District. They had the District in New World with Adidas. So, you know, those teams right there alone, it's just so much talent right there. Then you have a lot of low-level AU teams that really can compete too. And I was one of those coaches as well before I started coaching for Premier. So, I mean, that's my take on it.
Yeah, you hit the hammer on the nail with that one, man. I think, Coach Small, you got something you want to add in?
AU, man, in this area is a necessary monster. I mean, you know, you can agree with it, you cannot agree with it, but it's going to affect you and your program whether you like it or not. So, I mean, like everybody else said, man, we got some powerhouse AAU programs. Like maybe a year ago, Premier won their circuit, Takeover won their circuit on the EYBL. And, you know, Loaded comes in our backyard all the time to get talent here as well. So, I mean, with AAU is just a necessary evil, man. It's just a part of the game here, just as well as like the private public thing. Is AAU is a necessary monster here that you got to deal with. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure based on what the information that you've been saying in New Bern is, y'all don't have that huge of effect here, but here it's major. What kids attend high schools sometimes is true. Their high schools that they pick is because of associations with AAU programs and the whole nine, and that's how hard that the AAU thing is here in Maryland and DC.
Yeah, you're right, man. It's tough. I mean, because like I said before we started talking about it, the biggest thing that I see out of like what you said, a lot of high school head coaches, especially on the younger end, it's kind of almost mandatory that you coach summer ball.
Right.
You know what I mean? For you. You know what I mean? Not because we didn't coach none of our kids would take over. You know what I mean? We saw them out there on the road, but we made sure our kids had avenues to play. A lot of our kids couldn't make that team, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, I mean, you have 100 and something kids trying out for 10, 11 spots, you know what I mean? That's trying to get in where they fit in. So I think the biggest thing is like the head coaches are actually coaching. Like for our 17 Orange, it's 5 head coaches on our staff. You know, so it's like we all coach in high school, we're head coaches there, but we all coach together during the summertime. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So it's kind of like almost mandatory now to kind of like get out there and coach AAU because that's your networking piece, you know?
Right.
You get to meet other people and see other kids as well. And then, you know, you get to see that. And it's a great thing now that I'm in it. I actually understand a little bit better. But before it was more so like what John said, Small, you touched it a little bit earlier too, Coach, where you coming out your pocket a whole lot. You know,
right.
It get expensive.
Yeah.
You know, it get expensive, and you know, you start taking money out your house to make sure that these kids that normally wouldn't get this opportunity, trying to figure out, I got to put 6 of y'all in a room, you know what I mean? So we can actually get down there and play some basketball.
Right.
Yeah, so we definitely understand the struggle, man.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I did it, I had, I had 1 or 2 years that were full sponsored, but trying to do that when you're not getting that money anymore, it's different, man. It's different. It's different. Because when you do it at that level, that's how it's supposed to be. Like, these are places that I'm supposed to be at, so, but now I got to kind of try to get the kids there, without having the backing. So, it's definitely a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah, and then shout out to Pitt Community College, my little cousin. He plays in the high school up here. He's a guard at Pitt Community College, Sincere Jones.
Okay.
Pitt now. And I still don't understand. I understand how he got there because of my aunt, but he was left from up here to go to Pitt Community College.
Hey, Region 10 is strong, though. I got to give, a lot of the kids that are in Region 10 this year, a lot of those kids got offers.
Yeah.
And I just followed so closely because my kids play, I got twins and they play in Region 10 as well. So I'm hoping after another year we can figure out something else.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, if you don't have anything else, man, we good, man. We actually appreciate this opportunity. We're going to put it on Twitter. We're going to tag you. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of phone calls from my folks down there.
I appreciate you guys having me, man. Please make sure that you, like I said, you got my email, you got my cell number. Man, make sure you share it with the guys. And like I said, I look forward to us chopping it up sometime.
Absolutely. Everybody good?
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. It was nice to meet everybody.
Absolutely.
Likewise.
Appreciate it, Coach.
All right, man. Thank you. Y'all take care.
Only lions in my circle, we hungry for purpose. Nothing's given all these stripes, you can see that I earned them. Can't fuck the system, take the knowledge and study and learn it. Be as strong as said the weakest, 1 through 12 is equal. Tried to trap me, falling out. I had to thread the needle. I had to thread the needle, try erase and draw it up, just trying to see my youngins in. Yeah.